We're going to start right on time. Again, no surprise there. It is my absolute honor. You know, as Kyle and I were talking earlier today, getting ready for this, and prior to y'all coming on, I just shared it with Carlos, which is how excited we were to when Carlos agreed. And he not only agreed, he agreed with like quickly and graciously, and it was as excited as us. And again, no surprise, but you know, we've had some beautiful virtual classes over the last several weeks and several months, honestly, as this all has unfolded. But I'm sincere, and I'm nothing against anyone else. Everyone's been great. But I've just been incredibly excited to share Carlos with you, share his story, because I think that, you know, of everything you're going to get, this has got to be one of the most inspiring ones. This is somebody that sat in your chair and from that first day, walked down those stairs and went through the training, and his journey even to us is a beautiful story. And as he grew over the years in the training, into his talent, into his foundation, and then goes to LA and grows into it on a whole nother level. But you know, I don't want to imply for a second it's been easy either. I know enough of his journey down in LA to know that, you know, it's been a bumpy ride at times, like everybody. But the payoff from his resiliency, his professionalism, and of course his talent, he is now, you know, what a sentence he gets to say. I'm on a series on Netflix, and not just a series, something that it's almost it's a boyhood dream, and I don't want to steal any more stuff. In fact, I'm going to shut up. So with that, to all of you, we're grateful that you're all here, and I am just honored and thrilled to introduce Carlos Alfredo Jr., a graduate, alumnus, and series lead in Selena and a Netflix upcoming series. So Carlos, welcome.
Wow, what an introduction, huh?
Right? And deserved, all deserved. It's the truth. That's what's so cool about it, you know?
Yeah, well, this is an honor to be here, honestly. Like I was telling Jim, this is completely full circle for me. I started as many of you in that classroom, like he said. It was a hard journey. Now I'm here. I mean, I'd like to share my story. Maybe I'll inspire some of you. Maybe you'll get something out of it. I don't know, but I'm here. Any questions you guys have, I'm here for you.
Yeah, I want to really encourage that, everybody. A lot of you already submitted some. Kyla has them in the queue, and we'll get to them. When you do have a question that comes up through Carlos's story and telling and just teachings, let Kyla know. Type her a little message saying, "Hey, I got one." And then when she calls on you, of course, we want you to pull up your video so you can hang out, ask your question yourself, okay? So Carlos, why don't we do that? I'm going to let you just go for a bit, if you wouldn't mind. You know, I know you've done a lot of interviews. I've seen a lot of stuff from your hometown. How cool is that? But I know you've had to tell this story a lot. And I don't mean that in like you're sick and tired of it. I just mean, I'd just love for you to just, whatever the hell you feel like sharing about your journey, just talk about this evolution, because you came to us as an actor, but it was, you know, between your talent as an animator, a musician, etc. So can you just talk about your journey from Northern California, Vacaville area? Yeah.
Let's see. There's like many ways I can start this. I don't want to spoil anything, but I guess I can start with, I had just graduated from animation school. My plan was to be an animator and work for Pixar. That was my ultimate goal. And while I was in animation school and I got to my core classes, they made it very clear that it's very important as an animator to be the best actor that you can be. So then that became my goal. I wanted to be the best actor so I can be the best animator, and so I can work at Pixar and stand out and do the whole thing, right? So then I started going the acting route. I graduated from my college. I quickly got into Pixar. I started interning with a friend of mine that works there. I was there for about a year, but at the same time I was interning with him, I was taking acting classes in Fort Mason at a school called First Take. So as I was doing that, I met an actor there that told me that they were auditioning for A Streetcar Named Desire in San Francisco at this theater. So I auditioned, I got the part, and I saw how fun it was. Like every night I would change my performance to make the audience laugh, or sometimes I wouldn't get a response, sometimes I would. and it was just a crazy world, and I wanted it more and more and more. But the cool thing that happened there was that I met an actor named Glenn Caspillo, which is a graduate of the training, and I was so inspired by him, and I kept telling him like, how can I be like you? You know, I want to do what you do. I want to be free. And he told me, if you want to be a great actor, go to the Meisner Technique Studio in the Presidio with Jim Jarrett. And I'm like, what's Jim Jarrett? You know, I thought it was like a gym or something. Um, so then I checked the website.
That's hysterical. Go ahead.
I checked the website and I read up everything I could on it. I finally made the decision to send Regina at the time an email so I can get, so I can meet Jim or talk to Jim or whatever. And a couple of days go by and she says, Jim would like to talk to you. He's in Hawaii right now, but it'd be a phone interview. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I remember that being the scariest phone call of my life. I picked up the phone and I had a conversation with Jim. I was so nervous, like so incredibly nervous, that everything that came out of my mouth was just so stupid. Like, he's like, why do you want to be an actor? And I'm like, well, I'm an animator that, I thought it'd be fun if, it'd be cool. And I'm an animator. Did I say that already? And it was horrible. The phone call was horrible. And he's like, okay, pal, well, reach back if you're still interested. And of course I didn't. We hung up and that was it. I was like, I'm done. Like, what am I doing? I'm not an actor. Why do I want to be an actor? I'm an animator. I just graduated from a 4-year college. And this guy didn't take me seriously because I made a fool out of myself. So I decided I'm not going to go to that school. And I went on with my life. A week goes by and Jim comes back from Hawaii and he emails me and he tells me, hey pal, haven't heard back from you. Would love to meet you in person if you're still interested. And I said, wow, for a teacher to do that, to reach back to someone that was obviously very shy and awkward, there's something there. So I decided to meet him in the Presidio. I remember taking the BART from, Concord, all the way to Montgomery. And from Montgomery, I walked all the way to the Presidio, which is a long, long walk for those of you that are in San Francisco. And the whole time I'm walking there, every part of my body is telling me, no, go back, keep going back. What are you doing? This isn't you. No, you're not an actor. Go back home. And I kept fighting it. And then I got to the studio and I went down those steps, the brick wall, and it just felt like home. Something about it. It was just like I belonged there or something. And then I met Jim and we sat down and he told me, and I was very honest with him. I told him I was extremely awkward in the phone call, and I was super shy about it. And he told me, don't worry. Audit the class, at least audit the class, see how you feel about it, and just check it out. And that was it. From that point on, I started. I believe it was in September. And the first friend I ever made was my best friend to this day, who lives actually right there. Santiago Rosas, who is an incredible actor, and I'm sure a lot of you already know him. And yeah, it changed my life completely. Like I couldn't make eye contact with people. I was awkward, like I said. It just opened me up in a different way, and it made it seem possible. When I graduated there, it made it seem possible. Like all my dreams were actually possible. They were like obtainable. And yeah, here I am today.
So let me jump in there. So, Carlos was part of a beautiful class, not only with Santiago, who again, most of you all know, and who is such family to us, and it's impossible to describe what he means to all of us. But there were others in that class. Carlos had a very talented class. And one of the things that we constantly teach you all is what? Don't compare your instrument to anyone else. So Carlos, can you just talk to we have students again who haven't even begun yet, but basically first session through sixth and some graduates. The graduates understand you're going to share stuff right now that they're all going to just nod with, but the others on their journey, what advice can you give them, pal? Because I know, like all of us that went through the training, there can be some bumpy days, some tough days you want to quit maybe, or, you
Yeah,
know, you struggle.
yeah.
You really get stretched. What advice can you give to the people that are now in that classroom?
Sure. First of all, props to you guys that have just started. I'm almost a little bit jealous that you guys are starting because your life's about to be changed. I'm not being, I'm not exaggerating. I would say, in terms of advice, just work hard. Like, don't take any class for granted. Like, take notes because those notes, I still read them to this day. They still help me out. And there's material there that still resonates. And I continue to grow into my instrument that way. Uh, the crazy thing about class is that you'll become a tight knit family. This is your artistic family. For some of you, you guys will work together for the rest of your lives because you guys know each other on such a deep level, more than any other relationship that you could have. Because you guys are there during the bad times, during the good times. For me, it was I feel like I keep saying it over and over again, but it was the most important part of my life. It was the best decision I ever made was to go to that studio and learn from Jim and Melissa. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I'm proud of you guys once again. Keep going.
So then, you know, well, here, talk a little bit, please, about we host a talent show every year. We had to postpone it this year. It's usually held in May, and we had to postpone it. But Carlos every year would come in and just steal the show because of his ridiculous musical talent too. When you were going through the training, because I know we have a lot of students, I'm looking at these names, and I know their dreams quite well. You know, they want to be actors, but they also want to be singers, musicians, dance. You know, what advice can you give about that? I mean, there's just no way that on a daily basis, as you went through that training, as talented as you are, you guys can't believe what a gifted animator he is. I mean, that's obvious. But can you talk about how, how the training actually helped your music and how you were able to embrace that it didn't have to be all or nothing, acting only, that I know you never thought that music was going away. I know the musician that you are, you knew this was going. So how do you balance that without feeling like you were not giving your all to acting? Is that making sense? How did you? Yeah, go.
Sure. I guess what comes to mind when you ask that question is, well, I started playing guitar when I was 10. So it's something that shaped who I am as a human being. It opened up a lot of avenues. I feel like if it wasn't for guitar, I would have never had the courage to go to animation school and eventually acting school. Because as a guitar player, so in high school, I was extremely painfully shy. And then with my guitar playing, I was able to go up on a stage and play in front of people. And that was okay because I was hiding behind I had a buddy up there with me, someone to protect me. And that's how I always saw my guitar. It was someone that protected me. So that led me to animation school and then eventually acting school. But I always had that part of the guitar playing, the music part of me. I didn't have to sacrifice anything, I felt. However, in the school, I put in my everything to the acting because it was a new skill that I had to learn. So I put the guitar just a bit aside, but I would still pick it up and play. You know, it's not like that. I gave it up completely. So, but because of the training, I wasn't able to take any sort of lessons or any vocal lessons. But props to you guys who are actually doing that at the same time, because some people in my class had like other two part-time jobs they had to deal with, or other things they had to do to survive. So I don't know, did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Just it's
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So then, can you talk a little bit about the business class? I'm not trying to create an infomercial for it, but just the importance. Now, here you are, well trained. One of the things that happens with students is they go through the training and they do beautiful work. By the end, they're consistently doing some really beautiful work.
Mhm.
But now that now that you're out in the real world, you
Mhm.
understand. Yeah, the training's great, but
Mhm.
man, there's whole other art. The whole
Yeah.
taking
Oh yeah, for
meetings and
sure.
auditioning, etc. Can you just talk a little bit? And again, I'm not trying to create an infomercial, but
Yeah.
I just want to the importance of having the full foundation in place.
Yeah. I think for me it was having a camera shoved in my face in that class all the time. Because I mean, it's very very necessary practice because that's going to be your job, being in an audition room. Um, and then I don't know if you knew this, but I was very intimidated by you, Jim, in class.
Oh, I know that.
So that really really helped me. Like having you as my reader or having you as the casting director in this scenario, it really helped me just not give a shit anymore.
Mhm.
About who's looking at you, what's that person's title, or it's just me there showing up, doing my, prepared and giving my all.
Mhm. Mhm.
And there was a lot of little, things. I won't say little things, but for example, when I first got my commercial agent, uh, am I allowed to talk about what
Sure.
what I learned in the business class?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the whole highlighting the script thing.
Oh, probably not get into those details yet. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
stuff like that, it really helped me out for getting my first agent.
Yeah, there's a whole technique to auditioning, to pulling guys. There's a whole technique to auditioning,
Yeah,
and whether it's a cold read, whether you get 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, a day, 2 days. There are different tools that you'll pull out. So you know what, it's going to get too detailed. We'll move on from that. But now
I'll just say it was a lot of tools in my tool belt that I took with me to LA.
good. How
Yeah.
much longer? So you finished the training,
Mm-hmm.
and you knew you were headed to LA, right? Is that true? Was there any doubt?
I mean, that was in the future. So what happened was I graduated. I had this incredible foundation, and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't feel confident in myself yet, and then I felt torn because I had just graduated from an animation school. My parents invested a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of love in this school for me, and then I had this acting career also. So I was trying to balance both. So what I did, I got a job in Oakland as an animator, um, and I would audition at the same time. So that was my life for a year, and I wasn't happy because I felt that I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out in both careers.
Mm.
It was kind of watered down, uh, and I mean, I guess I'll go into it. So what happened? What made me move to LA? There was a talent show in Sacramento. It was America's Got Talent, but for the Spanish network. It's called Tengo Talento, Mucho Talento. So I auditioned with my guitar, and it was actually a Selena song, funny enough. And I got accepted into the show, and they were filming in Burbank. So I was like, oh my god! And I started picturing this amazing career for me. I'm gonna win the show, and I'm gonna be a successful musician, and then they're gonna find out that I'm a Meisner trained actor, and then they're gonna like put me in movies, and I'm gonna take off. That was my plan, right? And out of nowhere, that same week, my friend who I lived with in San Francisco at the time, his brother had just moved out and of his apartment, and he told me, "Hey, there's a room available if you want it. It's in Burbank." And I'm like, the timing could not be even more perfect. So that month, I packed up my truck. I did the hardest thing I had to do in my life, which is say goodbye to my family, and away I went to my career. And I moved into Burbank, and I have the momentum going. I'm taking vocal lessons twice a week, and I'm practicing my guitar, and I'm focusing wholeheartedly on this career path because I'm determined that I'm going to win this competition. And the studio is literally across the street from my house, so I'm like, oh, this is so perfect. And I'm just waiting for the phone call because they told me we're going to call you as soon as as soon as the show starts, we're going to call you. So months go by, and I'm still training. I'm still training. Another month goes by. I didn't hear anything. Another month goes by. the show is finally like airing on TV. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. Maybe they're gonna air the first couple of rounds um, that they filmed in Sacramento, and then they're gonna call me. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna call me, right? And nothing. They don't call me. And later on, I find out that even though you make it on the show, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be on the show, because they still have to go through another round of, the producers have to look at the competition and basically put people together to see what the show would feel like. So long story short, I don't make it on the show, but I have this momentum going, and I'm like, screw this, I'm gonna keep going, And I have my savings with me, so I was able to survive for about a year, and my vocal coach and I become very good friends. And he tells me, "Hey, are you looking for an agent?" And I said, "Yeah, eventually. Why?" He's like, "Well, my commercial agency is looking for actors right now, especially Latin actors. You should let me refer you." So I said, "Okay," and I show up. They gave me some sides, and I do the highlighter bit that I'm not supposed to talk about. um, they had me do the audition, then they had me do it in Spanish, and right away they're like, "Okay, you're in." And just like that, the momentum keeps going. Now I have commercial auditions. Now I have Toyota auditions. Now I have Petco auditions. Now I have voiceover auditions. So now I have to build a voiceover little booth in my closet so I can keep cranking those out. So I don't have to keep paying $10 a minute to go into a professional studio.
Right, right.
So that's my life for the next year. Very quickly, I booked a Hulu commercial out of nowhere. It's a national commercial during the Super Bowl. So then I'm surviving off of that, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool, But I'm still not doing the theatrical stuff that I wanted to do. I'm just focusing on commercial auditions. So then I start submitting myself for Actors Access stuff, and I'm doing short films. And the very first short film.
I'm going to jump in there. Everybody, Actors Access is the equivalent of what's up here, which is SF Casting. It's the probably the #1 online submission resource in the Los Angeles market. Wouldn't you say, Carlos? That's probably the #1 way of self-submitting.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. I apologize. So,
please, anyone that wants to jump in, that'd be cool too. So where was I?
Audition for a small film.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So the first theatrical audition that I do, I'm excited because I'm like, I finally get to do what I'm trained to do, so I can show people what I'm capable of. And I'm in the room, and there's this girl sitting there, and I'm imagining, oh, this is the girl that they casted in the film, and I'm just I'm reading with her just to see if there's chemistry there. So I sit down next to her, and the director is like setting up her camera for the audition, and I'm talking to this girl, and we realize that we have so many things in common. We have the same birthday. We're both Ecuadorian. We're both Meisner trained, and we just keep like, oh my God, it just keeps escalating and escalating. And the director's looking at us, and she's like, oh my God, keep going, keep going, keep going. And she hits record, and she just wanted us to talk. And the chemistry was there. We didn't even have to do the audition, and she like casted us right away. So that was my first experience doing a short film, and her and I became really good friends. And right before that, I was trying to find a perfect school for me because I wanted to keep training. I wanted to keep working out. And there's so much scam out there, guys. I'm not even kidding. There's so many bad teachers. Like Jim always says, whenever the rent's due, there's 1,000 teachers out there. So I went through a lot of that. There's a lot of disrespectful students to the teachers, all this drama. So she told me that there's a Meisner studio in North Hollywood that she goes to that I should attend to. And this guy's name is Don Bloomfield, who also studied with Sandy in New York. And so I went to the studio, and he doesn't normally take students that he hasn't taught. So I was just like an outlier. And he gave me a shot. He gave me a scene, and I went up there and I crushed it. And he's like, welcome to the class, man, So for the next year, I was just training that muscle, and he helped me evolve into my instrument and challenged me and stretched me and gave me all sorts of different scenes.
I'm going to jump in here, guys. You know, one of the things that Carlos has already used the phrase he talked about his artistic family that he, you know, began with in that class. You walk in complete strangers, and if you go through the full training, you're going to walk out of that room with people, as he said, no exaggeration. I know for people early in the training, it might, but even I'm looking at Jade Olivia. I know there's other first session students, but you know, I know that Jade Olivia, she's in a first session class. That class is already begun to bond in a big way and starting to find their family, if you will, quote unquote. And where I'm really going with this is just a beautiful example. You know, this crazy business. Someone's always watching and you never know where it's going to come from. Carlos goes to an audition for some small little film, he says, right? Some small little film that he self-submits on that changes his life. Because how does it change his life? Well, first of all, he sits next to somebody who he's now is part of his family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they bonded, became close friends. I'm sure remain friends, and they're going to cross-pollinate, man. He's going to help her where she can, and vice versa. And that leads to an introduction to her teacher that she respects. And Carlos now, having gone through our school and training, has a standard for how it should feel in there. Yeah. And clearly, if this guy wasn't that, it wouldn't have been that. And so, you know, what a perfect example of how your artistic family, we often think of family as our literal family, but quite often it's complete strangers. Sometimes they're part of our journey for 20, 30, 40 years. Yeah. And sometimes they're brand new. I send out a newsletter, Carlos, I think you know that, every Sunday. And I've got a guy from Norway who has just become he just reaches out pretty much every week. And now we've spoken online, and it's just, my point is just a complete stranger on the other part of the planet, and now trying to help each other with different projects. So yeah, again, guys, just the importance. I'm not talking about being a suck up. I'm just talking about you understanding that in the most nepotistic profession on the planet, man, it's all about relationships. And when you meet somebody who gets you, who you click with, oh my God, who not only gets you, but believes in your talent, man, that's gold. Carlos is singing, his vocal coach, another good example of it, introduced him to his commercial agent. I mean, this is the way this business works. So just to be able to walk with such professionalism, always on time, always a pro, ready to work. I'm telling you, man, and especially in a profession where so many people are flaky and inconsistent and unprofessional, you're going to stand out forget your training. You're going to stand out just the way you treat people. So, yeah. And no surprise, because Carlos is all that, as you can already tell. I apologize. Continue now. No. Your instruments. Yep.
No, I guess after what you said, what comes to mind is, and this is just my opinion, this is my perspective, but I feel there's 3 different kinds of actors that I've run into from living here for 4 years now. You'll find the ones that treat their careers as kind of like a hobby, you know, like the occasional like scratcher that you buy at a liquor store, you know, and they just like, oh, let me see if maybe they go to this audition and maybe I'll be lucky this time. Oh, I didn't get it. Okay, it's fine. 2 months later, they have another one, and they just kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? And those people get weeded out pretty quickly, is what I found. The second kind of actors that I run into are the ones that are enrolled in a workshop, acting workshop. They're auditioning all the time, but they're pretty much plateaued. They're not all in. They're not as interested as they once were, or so those kind of actors. Where am I going with this? Well, okay. The third kind of actors is the ones that are like the hustlers, right? They're the ones that are all in, have 2 part-time jobs. They're the ones that are killing it in class. The ones that are crushing it and stretching themselves and just professional. And at the auditions, they're the ones that are also killing it and booking stuff. So those are the 3 kinds of actors. And I hate to say it, but I was in the second category for a long time. I was just doing all the things that an actor is supposed to do. Why isn't it working yet? You know.
So what was that shift for you, pal? What was the shift? What was the epiphany, the light bulb, the moment, if there was one, or was it an evolution?
It was an evolution for sure, but I think the thing that changed everything was having my manager. My manager became like my LA mom, and she would rip me a new one when my reel was crap, and like my headshots. You need to get headshots. You need to do this. What are you doing? Why are you slacking? What are you doing? You know, and she really put a lot of fire under my butt. You know.
We're going to jump in because I know how much you respect your manager and what a gift she has been to you, and of course vice versa. So let's okay. Let's pull back just a
Yeah,
little.
yeah. Sorry, I'm like jumping
No,
ahead.
no, no, no. I'm just as excited. So let's talk about how you got to her. So now you're in this class. You're up in your game. You're feeling more like you're back in. You're getting in game shape again, right?
Right.
And did you get a theatrical agent next? Was that what happened? Were you just auditioning and self-submitting? And then whatever the evolution is, whatever the story is, because I don't know the journey to your manager. I just know what a blessed fit
Sure.
that
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way that happened was, I continued to self-submit, like you said, on Actors Access, and I got cast in this web series. And one of the actors that I worked with in that web series, again, another example of me meeting the right people that lead me to the right person, right? This actor, Francis, incredible Latino actor, he told me about his manager, how happy he was. And prior to that, I was on IMDb Pro. I was submitting thousands and thousands of emails with my bio and my headshot and my resume, my reel, to pretty much to the top tier, and I went all the way down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't hear anything. I think I heard back twice, and it was just, thank you for submitting. We're not interested, but thank you. Those kind of emails. So I was telling him about that. I was just expressing my frustration. And he was telling me about his manager, how happy he is, how she's changed his life. And then he told me, like, you should meet her. Here's her email. So I emailed her. I sent her my stuff as well. I wasn't expecting anything to happen. And then within 30 minutes, she emails me back and says, where do you live? Los Angeles? You speak Spanish? Yes. Okay, meet me at this address. And I said, okay. And I wasn't sure up to that point if that was shady, if that was safe. I was just like, okay, maybe this is how it works. I'm not too sure. So I show up at her place, and she's got this professional looking, like, office, and she has me. I take a seat, and she's like those classic 50s kind of women with a cigarette in her mouth. Like, her name's Dolores, so it really fits her persona, right? So she's like, okay, your resume sucks. You need new headshots. How long have you been here? 3 years? What have you been doing? Student films? Okay. And then she's like, just going down this laundry list of all the things that I'm failing at. And I'm feeling like this small in the seat. And it's humbling me. And then she just says, okay, we got a lot of work to do. Welcome to the team. And I'm like, okay, where do we start? And then she stayed up with me till 3 a.m, and she's looking through all my material, and she's telling me what to upload, what to take down, how to fix my resume in the proper format. And we go through it all. And within that week, I had my first audition. I think it was for Narcos, actually. I was like, what the heck? I went from like doing student films to now I'm auditioning for Narcos for Netflix. Are you serious? And then everything just escalated from there, you know?
So talk about, so do you have an agent currently?
Just a commercial agent.
So your manager, Dolores, handles who negotiates your contracts? Because I don't believe managers can, correct? Or am I wrong?
No, you're correct. We had to get a lawyer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
An entertainment lawyer. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Which getting a series it's a good thing to have anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So during this quarantine, Carlos, we've offered a series of specialty classes. About a month or so ago, Kyle and I taught a lot of components and elements that we felt comfortable sharing at this stage about the business, from the business class.
Yeah.
And we talked about agents and managers and the difference between the two. But now here we get to meet with someone who is benefiting from finding a great manager. Can you just talk briefly about, as you're down in LA, what you're understanding, what an agent does, what a manager does, and why there has been such a blessed difference. I understand you don't have a theatrical agent, but you get it. You understand what's going
Yeah,
on, what they typically do, and you got buddies who have them, and what has made, because there's a time to get a manager and there's a time not to, per se. You know,
yeah,
it's not for everybody, but boy, if you find the right one, it's quite a gift. Can you just talk
yeah.
about that relationship?
Sure. I feel like there's no one way to do it. Everyone's journey has been different. Some people started with the theatrical right away
Yep.
because they got lucky or something, or they went to some workshop where they got noticed. For me, I've always heard that managers were easier to get because they're as hungry as you, and they want it, you know. And especially my manager, she really just wants to hustle. That's just her personality. Um, I think the main difference that I've seen, my manager is like family to me. She'll call me at 3 in the morning to be like, "Hey, did you upload your reel?" "Yeah, didn't I tell you like 12 hours ago?"
Yeah.
You know, and we have that kind of dynamic, and we'll see each other. We'll go to restaurants. We'll celebrate each other's birthdays. We'll go to parties, and it's just like she's there to help you network, but she's also your family. Agents are more. There's typically a bunch. You have a group of people kind of representing you, and they're harder to contact because they're so busy all the time. But you know, for example, my commercial agent, I'll send like a fruit basket every Christmas, you know, just to show my appreciation and thank you for a good year kind of thing. But I don't tend to like when I'm in the area, yeah, I'll walk in there and I'll say hi. But I don't tend to just like reach out to them because that sort of bothers them.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, this is just what I hear.
No, you're spot on. And look, guys, I've never in the history of 33 years of doing this for me, have heard of of an agent sitting up at 3 in the morning after you first sign somebody and going over the reel and going over their content. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's called personal manager. People say manager, but back in the day, it was always called a personal manager. And there's a reason for that. It's really personal. And
Yeah.
Carlos really broke it down beautifully. A manager is family. They are as hungry as you. And they really nurture. I think Carlos, you said that it's almost like having your mom in LA.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's what a great manager is all about. Very protective of their roster.
Mhm.
And so again, it's a really, obviously an incredibly blessed thing to be able to find somebody. You're right. And you're overselling it, by the way. It ain't easy to get a manager, and it's definitely not easy to get a good one. And
By easy, I mean 2.5 years.
yeah, exactly. So now you sign with her. She immediately elevates you, your content, your packaging, and the next week you're auditioning for Narcos. And didn't you get you had a great run at that, didn't you?
I was pinned. I was on a veil for Narcos. They ended up going with someone older, but right away, that I think when you ask the question, what was the switch? For me, it's my confidence always was holding me back. So when Narcos wanted me, that kind of validated, like, oh my God, I'm okay. I'm here. I'm here for a reason. Like, people are starting to notice. So then I started working on myself even more, which is the important thing that I had to do for myself to continue to grow. And yeah, I mean,
it's so true. You can be incredibly well trained. You can have all this beautiful foundation. But again, guys, we talk about this all the time in the training: freedom. Be able to walk into a room, whether it's an audition or whether it's a meeting, to be able to show up and be an authentic version of you, and believe in you, and believe that you deserve to be doing this. That confidence, that freedom. I mean, it's just the most valuable real estate, I'm telling you. And so this is a beautiful example of it, as you really started to catch this momentum. So what happens after that? Now you get this beautiful validation, both of where you are, this teammate these teammates that have come together within a short time, a brass ring like Narcos, and not just a sip of coffee. You literally are right there at the finish line. They go with an older actor, which is part of the dance. It happens. Then what happens for you?
well, it's funny. That was the greatest moment of my life or my career, right? And then it's followed by the worst part of my career, which is I started going completely broke. I was in debt. So that started affecting my confidence again. Um, my parents were my parents have always been supportive, but this year in particular, they started questioning what I was doing with my life, you know? And I understand because as a parent, you want the best for your kid, right? But I was struggling. So what I ended up doing was I started working as a dishwasher, and I didn't care what I was doing. And I was in there scrubbing toilets, you know, scrubbing dishes, and I did not care because I was there living my dreams. And on the weekends, I would teach guitar to kids at this guitar store. So that was my life. I was auditioning, I was doing that, I was working, you know, hustling, acting school. And it got to a point where I like burned myself out, like completely. I remember the moment too. I had just left from teaching, and I had this amp. I don't know if you remember my amp, but it's like
Of course I do.
it's got wheels on it. My little grandma amp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm walking to my apartment, and I go through the alleyway, and one of the wheels just pops off, and I fall, and my guitar falls on top of me, and I'm on the ground, and I start crying, and I realize I finally broke, you know, and I asked myself, is this it? Like, do you just go back home? Do you work at the restaurant? Or, by the way, that's another story, but my family owns a restaurant in Vacaville. So my plan B, as my mom says, is to work at the restaurant and eventually manage it and do all that. So it was either that or pick myself up, dust myself off, and just continue hustling. And that's what I did. And I kept going and going and going. And in December of that year, that's 2018 that we're talking about, I hear about Selena. I hear about I see the trailer that Netflix has shown. It's just the logo, animated logo. And I'm like, no freaking way, you know? And right away, I call my manager. I'm like, Dolores, you have to get me in that room. If you love me, you're going to get me in that room. Because Selena means the world to me. She's one of our role models. In every Mexican household, you'll hear the music. She's in every wedding, every quinceañera, every barbecue, you know. And people still talk to her as she's still alive. She's had a huge impact on our culture. And I remember in the jukebox in my restaurant, I would always play her CDs, her albums, because I saw the impact that it had on people, on the customers. And I was sort of like the DJ there in the restaurant. But so what happened is my manager was like, I'm on it. I'm going to get you in. I'm going to get you in. Months go by, January, February, March. I hear nothing. My manager has tried and nothing. And what I'm about to tell you guys, I don't recommend any of you doing. It's a no-no in the business. And Jim will tell you it's a no-no. Every acting teacher will tell you it's a no-no. I grew very impatient that I wasn't hearing back because I wanted this so bad. So I went on IMDb Pro. I found the casting director's email. And I wrote her a message, and I'm like, listen, I don't know if you remember me, but you auditioned me for Narcos a few months back. And I would love the opportunity to audition for Selena. Here's a bunch of videos of me performing Selena songs. Please keep me in your considerations, or something like that.
I'm going to stop you. I disagree 1,000% in that I love this. Continue. The kind of stuff I did. Go ahead.
Oh, this went different than I thought it would be.
Oh, no, absolutely, man. Through the back door, the side door, the alleyway, get in there, man.
Whew, okay. So then the next day, she emails me back and she says, hey, Carlos, yeah, of course I remember you. Thanks for reaching out. Please tell your manager to email me. And I'm like, okay, that didn't sound horrible. That actually sounds sort of hopeful, doesn't it? So then I make the phone call and I'm like, she's going to yell at me. I'm like, hey, Dolores, I did a no-no. I emailed the casting director. She's like, what'd you do that for? No, you just lost your chances. And I'm like, no, she just said this. She just said she wants you to email her. She's like, really? She said that? And then she emailed her. Again, a couple of months go by. In July, I finally get my audition for Selena. And this is the crazy part, okay? I'm living with a guy named Hunter Reese Peña, another actor. And he's also like a huge Selena fan, and he wants this as bad as I do. He comes in to the apartment one day, and he's ecstatic because he got an audition for Selena for one of the keyboard players. And I'm like, and this is why Jim says don't date other actors, because I started getting really, not that he's my boyfriend or anything. I'm straight.
No, he's not even dating. Just living. If you live with another actor, it's really hard because exactly what he's about to describe. They walk in, we're going, "You won't believe what happened." You're like,
exactly.
Great. I'm thrilled for you.
Like, oh, that's awesome, man. And I feel happy for him, but at the same time, I'm torn because I want this so bad. 5 minutes later, Dolores calls me and she says, "You're not gonna believe this. They want to see you for Selena. I got an audition finally.
Oh my God!
Not only for one role, but for 2 roles. They want to see me for Joe, which is the keyboard player, and for Pete, which is the lead singer of the group." So then we both go to work. We're like, okay, let's do this.
Now you know. In other words, your roommate's going after this as well.
Yeah, but not for the same role. It
wasn't the same role.
No, we're not competing.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So then that's the first time I got private coaching. I find this acting teacher named Gregory Berg, and we're taking one-on-one coaching with him, and he's breaking down the script for me, and he's helping me see things that I hadn't seen otherwise. And I'm locked and loaded. I do all my doings. I don't know if I'm allowed to say any lingo.
All right.
But anyways, I'm so prepared. I show up and I crush it. Like, it was the most free I've ever been in an audition. Like, it couldn't have gone better. So I'm in my truck and I'm calling Dolores. I tell her how it goes. I call my mom. I call my girlfriend. And that's it. I did it, and I walk away, and I'm feeling proud. And then 2 more months go by, 3 more months, I think. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, they casted this already. There's no way, So I'm feeling kind of a little hurt. So I just move on with my life. This is the crazy part, okay? It's my sister's wedding. It's in September now. It's my sister's wedding this weekend. And I'm supposed to go to Vacaville for the tuxedo fitting, for all the wedding festivities and stuff, right before the wedding on that Saturday. So, and I had planned to perform at my sister's wedding. I was going to do a little surprise. So my guitar, I had decorated it with a bunch of pictures of her and her husband.
Oh.
And that was my plan, right? So I pack up my truck with the guitar, and then I take my girlfriend, and we go to Vacaville. And I'm seeing my family, and it's great. The next morning, Dolores calls me. She's like, "I'm so sorry, sweetie. You have to drive right back." She's like, "The producers wants to see you for Selena." She's like, "You have an audition on Thursday." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Please, just drive right back. You have to." And then they wanted to see me for Joe and for Pete again. But this time with the producer in the room. And they wanted me to perform 30 seconds of a song. And they wanted me to sing a cappella. So those were the requirements. So then I say, "I'm sorry to everyone, my whole family. Sorry, sister. I'll be back for your wedding, I promise." I hop in my truck again with my girlfriend, drive right back to LA. Just hammer it out, work on my song, work on my characters again, do all that. I think I got coaching again that week again because I was so excited and I was so pumped. I go in the room. It felt like family going in that room. It was so relaxed. It's like I knew this person my whole life. It was like this very creative atmosphere. And I'm in the room, and he says, "Okay, let's start with Pete." So then I do Pete, and he's like, "Okay, great." He throws me an adjustment. I take the adjustment, I internalize it, and I do it well. And then he's like, "Okay, great, let's do Joe now." So I'm doing Joe. And again, he throws something at me. I throw it right back. Great, awesome. "Okay, so what are you gonna play for us today?" Well, I have 2 songs I can play for you. I can do a Selena song, or I can do like a Carlos Santana song. He's like, "Why don't we do both?" And I'm like, "Okay."
That's a huge buying signal.
Yeah. So I take out my guitar from the case, and the first thing he sees is all the pictures with my sister and her husband on it. And he says, "Oh, what's that about?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm playing on my sister's wedding this weekend." And yeah, and it's a little surprise for them that I'm gonna do. And he's like, "Oh, that's so cool." And I feel like that showed a little bit of my personality, a little bit of who I am as a person. So then I start doing this crazy loop with my guitar with Santana. I start with the bass, then I do the drums, then I do the melodies, and then I start riffing. And I'm riffing in that room for a good 6 minutes. And
Wow.
and they never stop me. They never stop me. And I end the song, and the guy's just like, "Okay, can you do the Selena one now?"
Wow.
And I said, sure, sure. So then I start playing the Selena song, and I'm playing for 10 minutes. Even though the email said play for 30 seconds, I played for a good 20 minutes in total, the songs, right? I stop the song, I end the song, and then he says, "Okay, can you sing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can sing." He's like, "Okay." He's like, "Can you play with your guitar and sing?" I'm like, "Yeah." So then I'm doing the song that they requested with my guitar and singing. And then he's like, "Okay, now do it a cappella." And I do it a cappella, and he's like, "Wow, that's great. That's really great. This is a great audition. Thank you so much." And then he starts saying, um, he said, "I love the tone of your voice. It's so warm." He says, "With the proper teacher, you can go to a different level with your voice." And then he points at the casting director, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, she's a vocal coach." And she's like, "Yeah, I can help you." And then the next 5 minutes becomes a vocal lesson. So there and I'm like bending down and like doing all these vocal trills, and she's having me sing. So it just becomes a vocal lesson. The last 5 minutes. I'm not exaggerating, guys. I was in the room for about an hour and a half.
Jeez.
Yeah. And that was it. And I left, and I was looking at the waiting room, and those guys were just like shitting their pants because they're like, "Am I supposed to be in the room for an hour and a half?"
Or even worse, they're going, "Oh, I'm so screwed." You know what I mean? I mean, come on.
Man. And I'm floating out of there, man. I'm feeling so happy. I call my manager again, my girlfriend, my mom, and they're all so proud of me. And then get right back in my truck, go to my sister's wedding, do that whole deal, drive back to LA. A week goes by, and she says, Dolores, she's like, "Honey, you're not gonna believe this. The producer wants to see you again, but this time for Chris." And Chris is Selena's husband, which is the lead role. And that's the role that I originally wanted because he's the guitar player of the group. And like he's basically like me. He's a heavy metal guitar player who ended up in this Latin band. And so again, I get training, I get coaching, I show up, I do my thing. Again, I'm floating out of there. I crush it. I feel really good about it. And then 2 weeks go by, and I'm pinned. I'm pinned for Selena. And
Tell them what pin means, please.
they either call it pinned or you're on a veil, which means that you're strongly considered for the role. You're up against God knows how many people, but you're just there. It basically means don't make any plans from. They said don't make any plans from December through June of next year. That's what the email said. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, here we go. And then a couple of days go by, and I'm at work, and I'm scrubbing dishes. And during my break, I'm in the back room, and I check my phone, and I have 25 missed calls from my manager. And I'm like, oh my God, this is either good news or bad news, you know? And I call her right away, and she says, the first thing she says is, "Hello, Joe." And I knew it. I'm like, oh my God. She was like, "You got the part. You got the part of Joe Ojeda, which is the keyboardist of the group." And I felt so ecstatic. I felt I didn't feel real. It's the most surreal feeling in the world. I didn't feel real because it's completely full circle that I came to LA because of a Selena song, and the same song brought me to this audition. You know, that same song gave me momentum to keep working hard, to keep doing it. And here I am in this Netflix office with the producer of the show, who's super interested in me, and now I have the part, you know? Now it's mine. Like, here I am. Like, I don't even know how to put it in words, you know?
Oh, this is so perfect. It's not even funny because we're about to take a break in just a minute. So we're right there, and obviously y'all may not know this, but you know, even before the quarantine, Carlos they began shooting. Man, they got into production. I think they got even all the way into season 2. Is that true?
Half of season 2. So we're like halfway done with the show.
Yeah. So we'll take a break and we'll come back and start talking about that part of the journey and then start fielding questions. But hey, pal, if you wouldn't mind, I just got to chill. I asked Carlos if he'd be willing to play a song for y'all or anything he wants to do. And pal, whatever in the hell you want to do right now. And I mean, and for as long, just like your audition, for as long as whatever in the hell you want to do, we'd love to hear it.
Okay. Before I start, I want to say one last thing. The craziest thing, on top of all that craziness that happened, my roommate also got a part in the show as the other keyboardist of the band. So here we are, 2 actors living in the same little apartment in Burbank, and we both got in.
My goodness.
Yeah. So okay. Wow. Okay. So I think it's appropriate that I play you guys the song that I auditioned with for Selena. You guys are cool with that?
Yes.
Unless you guys want some requests. Any requests?
I'm sure that'll happen too.
Let's see. Okay. How y'all doing out there, huh?
Classic musician in a tune for like 20 minutes, you little show offs.
I feel like I'm at the talent show right now. All right, here we go. So this song, let me give you a little history while I'm tuning. This song was written by actually Ricky Vela, which is the keyboardist that my ex-roommate is portraying. He wrote this song for the drummer of Selena. He was in love with, which is Selena's sister, Suzette. He wrote this song for her because he was madly in love with her, and she didn't love him back. So this was his response. And it's about a love that cannot be, okay? Which is crappy emotion, but we all have to deal with it sometimes. So here we go. This is No Me Queda Más. No me queda más que perderme en un abismo de tristeza y de lágrimas. No me queda más que aguantaré mi derrota y pintaré felicidad. No me queda más. Si tu regreso hoy sería una imposibilidad. Esto que no es amor, por mi parte, lo más lindo, el más grande amor. Lo que siempre renuncies para mí. Yo tenía una esperanza en el fondo de mi alma que algún día te quedaras tú conmigo. Y aún guardaba esta ilusión que alimentaba el corazón, mi corazón. Yo tenía que verte como soy una amiga que aunque vivía enamorado y totalmente equivocado, no me puedo. Esto se fue, amor. Por mi parte, lo más lindo, el más grande amor. Lo que siempre. En el fondo de mi alma, que algún día te quedarás tú conmigo. Y aún guardabas la ilusión que alimentaba el corazón. Mi corazón no tiene que verte como solo una amiga, que aunque vivía enamorado y totalmente equivocado, no me puedo. Que esto sí fue amor, por mi parte, lo más lindo, el más grande amor, y aunque siempre lo denuncies para mí. Fue lo más bello, fue lo más bello, fue lo más bello.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Everyone's clapping. Everyone's clapping.
Oh, they're not. They're
Their
here.
volume, their audio's off. Trust me, they all are. Oh my.
Thanks, guys.
Well, look, we will. Everybody, let's take a short break. It's let's see, it's 6:02. Let's do 10 minutes. We'll come back at 6:12. Okay, and we got more a few surprises. Here we go. Kyla, do you want to maybe, what do you think? Start with a few questions, or do you want to just, what do you think?
Yeah, we can start with some questions if you want.
Yeah, let's do that for a little bit, and then we'll get back to some that I can interject with as well.
All right, let's do it.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna see if some guy. I think he's at the door.
See,
Let him in.
Yeah, 1 second.
this is their house that they rent, and he's turned this into his own private recording studio, which obviously is amazing. And he lives with 3 other guys. Ready? All from the training, all who have moved to LA. And so I'm gonna hang out with several of them, hopefully.
Yeah, I think he's coming over here in a little bit.
Hey, Connor, if you're here, you're going to be the first question, so you can start getting ready. There you
Connor.
are. Hello.
Hey guys.
Oh, there you are. Hey, Connor.
Hey. Thanks so much for
Oh, thank you.
hanging out with us and sharing your stories, your war stories, good, bad, otherwise. I had a question. I guess it's 1.5 questions about sort of starting out. About this idea of, like, of course, hindsight is 2020, but looking back on starting out, is there projects that you did, like student films or other commercials or things that seemed like sort of just another job at first, but actually having the ability to look back led you to something else or led to a bigger something? And then, oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, oh, wow. That was the half question, or that was
That was the part one.
part one of the half.
I guess I could just finish up with the second half.
Sure.
So then this idea of currency and that's other than money, because oftentimes when I feel like when you start out, you're not necessarily always going to be paid for your work. But is there jobs that you've taken for certain other reasons to get real footage or other types of non-financial currency? And if that is true, what are the ones that you felt were really valuable to you in starting out?
Mm-hmm. So let me start with your first one. Definitely, there's many projects that I did that led me to other things. For example, the web series that I did led me to meeting this actor named Francis, which led me to getting my manager, Dolores. And then if you go way back, going to I guess this isn't a job per se, But that's how I met Jim through another acting school that a friend of mine, I guess it was a job, because I got hired to be in the theater to perform A Streetcar Named Desire. And that's where I met a fellow graduate who led me to Jim. So that's another example of that. I think the third one of the first short films that I did coming to LA, I was really proud of my work in this film. It didn't go anywhere, but still I made a connection with the director. And a couple of weeks ago, he sent me a new script, and it was one of the best pieces of writing that I've read in a long time.
Wow.
I was really like proud of him. I was really excited, and he wants me to produce it with him, to create it, you know? So, and
Okay.
that might lead to something else, you know? Who knows? And
Awesome.
then, sorry, remind the second question. I don't
Yeah,
think
it's kind of a weird idea. It's kind of talking about valuable things that are valuable to actors working on jobs that aren't necessarily like physical cash payment. Is like currencies. This idea of doing work maybe for real footage or to make a connection with a director or things that are not money. Is there projects that you've worked on, and what are those things that have been valuable to you when you were starting out that haven't been money per se? Or maybe it was like I really just needed that like rent check or whatever. Just wanted to ask you about your experience.
You're saying if I did certain projects that I didn't want to really do, but I needed it for the money? Is that what you're?
No.
I'm sorry, I totally like misunderstood.
Sorry, I'm trying to rephrase it for you.
Oh, you're fine.
I guess so. There's this. I'm working with this idea of like you're not always going to be paid for your work, but
right.
you still decide to do a project because it has some value to you.
Right.
What are some of the things that you've chosen, projects you decided to do, maybe for not to being paid, but you chose to do them for a certain reason?
Oh, I see.
What were some of those reasons? And it might just be to do work, to act, to practice the craft. But I wanted to just pick your brain to see what your thoughts were on that.
Well, like I was saying earlier, when I joined Actors Access, I just wanted to work. I was up to that point, I was doing a bunch of commercial auditions, and I wasn't really fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to keep stretching myself, keep working on that muscle. So I would submit myself for things. And the crappy part about auditioning for student films is like, you'll get an audition and you'll read the scene and you're like, oh my God, this scene's amazing. And then you start imagining, at least for me, I start imagining what the film could be, like the potential, and then what the scene's gonna look like. And then of course you get cast in it, and it's nothing like you thought it was gonna be. It's so unprofessional. There's all these flakes. And then the final product either never gets finished or it gets finished, but you can't do anything with it, you know. But along the way, you'll start meeting the right people, you know. So that's happened several times where I meet people that I still talk to this day.
Sure.
You know?
So like Jim had said before, it's been really relational for you, this beginning journey of your stage, the stages of it all, meeting those people and getting those sort of fortuitous connections then.
Right. I would just say to stay open, man. Stay open to everything. Don't do things because you feel it's gonna get you somewhere. Because people can sense when you're trying to take something from them, when you have a hidden agenda.
Okay.
Everyone can smell that in this industry. You know.
That's great. That's really good advice. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for your question. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Kyla, next up.
Kyla's gone.
All right. Here we go. I know I don't know why it's his picture. I don't know what to do about that.
It's two Jims.
Yeah, right. I know, especially when he goes away and we're just side by side. Just two Jim Jarretts. Okay. Jade Olivia, you're up next.
Where are you? Oh, Jade Olivia. Oh yeah.
Yes.
EC.
Hi.
EC's in the house.
Sorry. I was losing battery. Okay, so my first question, I have two, is what was the biggest adjustment for your career when you were in LA? I mean, I think as far as, I don't know, I guess that's pretty clear. And then my second question is, I'm curious about the second studio, the Meisner studio that you joined in LA and what that looked like. After already completing like with Jim for 2 years plus the business class, like, I don't know, for some reason that kind of like confuses me because I don't know, what does that look like? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
You already done it.
The biggest adjustment was tr- uh, it. I would say it was the confidence thing that always held me back, my own confidence. So I did things like street perform because I was so scared of it. So that was a good. I was just doing things that would help me become more free, which was street performing, which was network, like going out and auditioning and just keep working that muscle. Um, things, I don't know if that answered your question. Uh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess I was also thinking too, like that is major. And I was also thinking too, like getting into like the swing of things, like you said, when you kind of evolved out of the phase of being that second kind of actor that you talked about.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
what did that mean, that you went to more auditions because you were like looking to do that? Does it mean like you've had like a routine where you were going to the gym and I don't know, more structured, or taking more classes?
Mm-hmm. Um, it was a mixture of going to the studio that you were talking about, the Meisner studio, which completely stretched me to a different level, and it was getting my manager. Those were the two things that made me feel like, oh my God, like what have I been doing this whole time? You know, I've been wasting time and just feeling like a solid actor. And to answer your second question, uh, so the studio, it's sort of the same layout as gyms. It's a 3 or 4 year program, right? And I didn't do the program with him, with that teacher. So he has a separate, kind of like what Jim has there, a studio, like for the graduates. That's what that layout was for their school.
So he
And
didn't repeat the formal training, Jade Olivia. He was brought into what, like a studio, our gym for actors, which we provide. He has something down there for his graduates to continue to grow and stay in shape. And he was able to, which is a huge compliment, because I have the same policy. I wouldn't allow somebody from the outside trained by somebody else, because typically they don't know what they're doing.
yeah,
Um, yeah, or it's just diluted. That's overstated. That wasn't fair. I apologize. But it's just their foundation is rickety. It's not put in place the way that Sandy wanted it put in place. It's really rare. So anyway,
yeah. I mean that studio,
Got
yeah, that's what it was. He would challenge you with different scenes, and he had a good eye with seeing like, oh, this guy. And Jim has the same eye. He's like, this guy is not good at his anger. He's not an angry guy. Let's give him some angry scenes. Let's give him some dramatic scenes. Uh, so I mean, I'm very grateful to both of these studios that have shaped me in different ways. You know,
And you stuck with that for about a year or longer?
I did that for about a year and a half, and then I moved on to a different studio with Robert DeBonzo, and I was just trying to find different perspectives. It's not that I had anything against that other teacher. It was just like I wanted to continue seeing perspectives and to keep because when I first came to LA, I was very Meisner only, Meisner only, Meisner only. Like I didn't want to work with any other actors because of the way we're taught. You know, I didn't believe in any other technique or any other kind of actor. So after this training, I decided to do a different kind of workshop. And then I did, at the Groundlings, I took comedy improv just to start working that muscle and seeing what that's like. So it's
and
just
just so you all know, Sandy would often say, look, this isn't the whole story. There's more. Your foundation is rock solid. He also would say to us when the training first ended, don't study with anybody else for some time. The cement of your foundation is still wet. And I couldn't agree more with that, everybody. But boy, once it does settle and you're starting to grow into that, absolutely, all the things Carlos is describing are critical, not only to expand your artistic family, but your range of information. And you'll kiss some frogs. You'll try some classes or workshops where you're like going, oh my God, it almost violates how you feel about the work. But then, you'll find something that even though it's not Meisner, it is something that has value, that is another piece to the puzzle that helps with your foundation.
Oh, Jade, I just thought of something. with your first question, if you don't mind, when you asked me that, what helped shape me, in the beginning, Jim talks about Enneagrams. For me, what helped me a lot was, have you guys ever done the Myers-Briggs test? Does that ring a bell?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I discovered the Myers-Briggs, not that I discovered it, like Columbus or whatever, but when I found out about the Myers-Briggs, it's basically a questionnaire that asks you like a series of questions, and it gives you a code at the end of it. And with that code, like for example, I'm an INFP. That determines.
Same.
Hey,
Hey,
you said that.
Kyla.
What's up, Kyla?
INFPs. We're rare.
Oh, you can hear me. Oh, cool. You're an INFP?
Yeah.
See? So what I recommend you guys doing is take the test, find out what your specific code is, and then read upon it. And then what I like doing is I went to YouTube. You type in, for example, I type in INFP, and you see all the actors that share this same thing with you, and then you start seeing their interviews. Like for example, Andrew Garfield is a lot like me in interviews. Like he stutters, he can't make eye contact, he's constantly like scratching his head, his mind's going all over the place. So once you know those little qualities about yourself, then you can start like fixing them, or not fixing them, but like being aware of them, and then sort of help nurture them, or kind of, it helps you make peace with who you are. And I make 4% of the population. Kyla and I make 4% of the population, so we're very rare and weird. So,
that's awesome. Yeah, I've also done that and gotten a lot of value out of it. And I've realized that I'm ENFP. So yeah, I think focusing, on your strengths, and I think that's 7% of the population. So that's amazing. That's cool. Good. I feel like I'm on the right track.
Yeah. Like this changed everything for me, honestly. Like from the beginning, because I was like, why am I so weird? Why am I so self-conscious? Why am I this? Why am I that? And then for some reason, I stumbled upon INFP, the quiz, and I found out I'm an INFP, and I just embraced myself. I'm like, oh, okay, 4% of these people. That's why I don't get along with a lot of people, or not that I don't get along, but I feel like I'm an outsider because I'm 4% of the population. That makes sense. And this also helps for acting. Like when you're working on a character and you want to get away from yourself, you start seeing all the different personality types, and you're like, oh, this character would be like that. And then you cling on to that type, and then you start learning about what the qualities of that character, and then you start embodying those things with however you channel that emotion. And it's very powerful. It's much like Enneagrams. I don't know if Jim talks about that in class, but I think they sort of have the same sort of concept, right? They do the same thing.
Yeah, we delve into that when second year starts for sure. Beautiful stuff. Kyla, next question.
All right. Next question is Robert. Robert, are you here?
Oh, Tyler. Hey, Tyler. There's Tyler right there. Oh, sorry, Robert. Sorry, I got distracted by Tyler.
No worries. So,
not yet.
So my question is actually relating to the show. I don't know how much you can actually like say because like, the show's not out yet and all that. But you're playing a historical character in the show.
Yeah.
So how much like research did you like look into the character, or was it sort of like, I don't know much about the show, but is it like a loose retelling of the story? Is it super historically accurate? And did they push you to really like look back at footage and things like that?
Great question. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Thank you for asking. This is a funny story, actually. So when I got cast as Joe, again, this could have been a no-no in the business, but I did it anyways because I wanted to learn. I reached out to the real Joe on Instagram, right?
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't expecting a response. And I basically told him like, hey, listen, I just got cast as you in the show. And I was under the impression that he's the one that casted me for some reason. Like he looked at all the headshots and I want that guy. So I just thanked him and I'm like, hey, I'm going to do the best job possible for you. I'm learning the keyboards. I'm in it. I'm in, And he responded right away and he's like, hey, Carlos, nice to meet you. And then ever since then, him and I have been pals. Like he's been the most incredible resource. Well, of course, because it's him that I'm portraying, right? But for example, when I'm on set, not on set, but during wardrobe, they give me different outfit choices, and they're taking pictures. I'll send these pictures to Joe, and I'll be like, "Hey, did you wear these outfits in the 90s?" And he'll be like, "Yes, yes, no, definitely not, definitely not, definitely not." So then I'll go back to the wardrobe people, and I'll be like, "Hey, Joe says he didn't wear these jeans in the 90s," and they'll be like, "Oh my God, you're talking to Joe. What else did he say?" And they start getting all this information from me, and like, he wears Z Cabarucci's. What the heck is Z Cabarucci? And then they'd go find them, and then next thing you know, I'm on set wearing Z Cabarucci's, and it's all because of that connection there, you know. And then I'll ask him about his gear, and then I'll play different things on the piano and be like, "Hey, is this how you played it?" And he'll like correct it, or he'll give me feedback. And then there's plenty of Selena stuff that Netflix I wouldn't say required, but they would send us resources of all the footage that we should be researching and watching, because Joe has a lot of dance moves.
Mm-hmm.
So as a beginner piano player, I had to learn how to play the piano first. Then I had to learn how to stand up and play the piano. Then I had to incorporate the dance moves with still playing the song in tune and everything. So there was a lot of layers that I had to go through to portray this character. But I got lucky with the fact that I'm talking to the real Joe, talking to the real guy.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Super awesome.
Next up.
Thanks, Robert.
Hi.
All right. Next up, Victoria.
Victoria Gleason.
First, I know we talked earlier, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing this. And I have so much respect for your tenacity. It's extremely inspiring.
Thank you.
So my question is about doing the improv classes. You said that you did Groundlings, and I'm looking at both Groundlings and UCB because that's something that I want to get into as soon as I get down there. What was your deciding factor between the two, or did you just pick it?
Well, every time I would have an audition, like a lot of my commercial auditions was down that street. I think it's Melrose.
Yep.
Where the Groundlings is at. Mm-hmm. And I would always pass by it, and I always knew about Will Ferrell studying there and all these SNL people. And I don't even know where UCB is to this day. Not that I have anything against it. I've heard a lot of people graduate from there, and they've had amazing careers. But for me, it was just there, you know. It was a historic building, and I wanted to dive in. So I took two workshops there.
You did 2 workshops?
2 workshops, yeah. I was thinking about
going further.
I was thinking about studying further because I was doing a web series that was a comedy web series that won a bunch of awards, and I wanted to keep working on that comedy muscle. But then Selena happened, and I took off somewhere else. But that's just how the business is. The career is so unpredictable. But thank you, Victoria.
Who's up next?
Okay. Looks like we've got Brianna next.
Hello.
Brianna, you again.
How are you? Thank you so much again. That song was beautiful, and it's just, I saw you a couple years ago in the talent show, and it's just never disappoints.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, my question was, because you spoke a lot about reaching out and also about being shy, and so I feel like I can relate in some of those ways where I have a hard time knowing when to reach out, but for you, it's like you reached out in a way that's like even beyond what we're even recommended to do by, you know, reaching out to the casting people or the producer and everything. And when do you know what, is there a common like feeling that you get on when to reach out, and how do you know that you're, I mean, I guess there's no way to know, but do you have any common feelings before you reach out in that way?
Well, like Jim always says in class, follow your gut, right? That's a big note. I've done a lot of that in my career here, whether it be like talking to this person, like my manager. I could have easily been like, oh, this is a scam. I'm not going to go to this building. What if she murders me or something? I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
But my gut told me like this, you need to do this, you know? And it's just a feeling that you have. Same with Selena. I wanted it so bad. The months went by, and you know I went on IMDb Pro. I found her email and I just did it because it felt like the right thing to do. It I still don't know if that serviced me anyway,
Yeah.
you know, but it seems like it sort of did because she saw my musical ability. So she's like, let's get this guy. Because my credits were all student films up to that point, and then one national commercial. So no one was taking me seriously, and that's the catch-22 of this career.
Yeah.
You'll have like no credits, and then but you're still trying to get in the door, and no manager's looking at you because you have no credits.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? You shoot projects with your talented filmmaker friends, you know, good quality stuff on your reel, and you just get out there, you know.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Kyle?
That's all we got for now.
Okay. All right. So now, pal, if you wouldn't mind, can we now, you've now been cast in this incredible dream of yours. You know, it's not just a series, it's something that's been you know, literally without any exaggeration, part of your growing up. And can you talk about first day on the set, maybe about
Sure.
between being probably so damn excited you could probably see straight, and maybe even a bit overwhelmed, and maybe even intimidated, and what you did to calm yourself down and get yourself grounded. Just anything you want to share about. And I'm just going to really leave it open to you now. You know, take us through now. You know, what happens next? What's unfolded for you?
Sure. So a couple of days before that led to the day that I was going to go on set, I remember sitting on my couch, and I'm like, holy shit, I did it. I'm a working actor. From this point forward, I'm a working actor. And I started crying, and it was the most amazing feeling. It's going back to the whole, I didn't feel real, you know? It was insane. So in December, it's not a secret anymore. It's all over the media. We're shooting in Mexico. So my roommate, who I told you also got cast, because he's the first keyboardist of Selena. He left in November, so he's off shooting in Mexico, and he's having this great time, and he's sending me pictures, and he's telling me all about it, and I'm just like a caged animal ready to fight, you know. And I'm reading all the scripts that they've been sending me, and the story's so beautiful. You guys are gonna love it, man. They really do Selena justice in this series.
Oh, good.
So they buy me my Amtrak ticket. I take an Amtrak to San Diego. In San Diego, a van pick me up, and then away I go to Rosarito, the same studio where they shot Titanic. James Cameron shot Titanic. And they put me in a hotel, and I'm in this beautiful beach town, you know, around my people, you know, speaking Spanish all over the place. And I'm just like, oh my God. It's like, I'm on vacation, but at the same time, I'm here to work, you know? So I take my keyboard with me, and I'm learning all the songs in my hotel. And a typical day is, so they send your schedule like on a Friday for the following week, and you'll see what days you're working. But then the call sheet, they don't send it until the night before each of the days, so you don't know your call time. So you're in the hotel room, and at midnight they send you the call sheet, and you're like, okay, I'm getting picked up at 8 a.m. So then you prepare for 8 a.m. and then you get picked up. They take you to the set or to the studio. You'll go to the wardrobe. They'll give you your wardrobe. Then you'll go to the haircut place or the makeup and hair. And they gave me this really short haircut, which I hadn't had since I was like 5 years old or whatever. And then it's just a matter of waiting in your trailer, waiting in your dressing room, just being prepared. And that's all. I mean, it's the unsexy part of acting, I think, is just waiting and waiting and waiting,
Sure.
along with memorizing lines. I think Jim said that once. The unsexy part of acting is memorizing your lines.
Yep.
Well, this is another to that list, is just waiting. You know, and sometimes someone will knock on your door and be like, "Hey, are you hungry?" And then they'll bring you some food. But usually I wasn't hungry because I was like, I wanted to be on the set. But that's a typical day. That's been a typical day. In December, I didn't have a lot of scenes because I was the new guy, and in the storyline, I don't get, you know, I'm barely in the scene. Once January hit, I was in every single shot of that freaking show. you know, because I was a member of Los Dinos, a member of the band. Yeah.
What the hell is it like, pal? To forget the shooting of the Netflix show. What's it like? I mean, just a personal question. What the hell is it like to be up there? Not only just being a part of that, being a part of this iconic recreation of this iconic career.
I keep throwing it out there, but it's definitely full circle. It's like exactly where I needed to be. You know, it feels like that every time I'm on set. It's like, this is where I need to be. You know, I belong here. And then I'm on stage and there's like 300 extras in the crowd. And I'm over there performing the Selena songs that I grew up loving, you know, and I'm portraying the guy that I'm talking to on Instagram. You know? And I'm, by the way, Netflix encourages us to film all the time and take pictures because they're doing this new thing where they're like, they're taking all the camera stuff that people are taking on their phones and advertising it that way, which is very interesting. It was very, very interesting marketing strategy. So,
and so you were shooting. Did the virus shut you down, or were you on a little break prior, or literally is that what happened? It just came crashing in, and that was it.
Yeah, that was it. They sent us all home, and they told us to wait. They told us it's gonna take a week. Don't worry, it's gonna take a week.
Right.
And then of course,
I said the same thing to all the students. I thought it was like back in a week. Yeah.
Oh my God, a week turned into what? Was it 3 months now?
2.5 for us anyway.
Yeah. But I'm excited to go back.
What's the word for you and Holly? I know I've been following a lot with all, you know, other friends in the industry about whether they're on this side of the camera or on the other about all what's going on, what Hollywood's doing to prep to reopen. What are you hearing from, whatever you can share anyway?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing over and over again, the studios will open again in September. So everyone's hoping for September. And then I hear the movie theaters won't be open until like 2023 or something like that.
Yeah.
Something crazy. So Hollywood's definitely changing. I don't know in what way. I'm not too familiar with what's happening.
Go ahead, you go.
I was gonna say, all I know is there's gonna be so many self-tapes from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be the big thing. So definitely invest in a good camera, a good backdrop. See, my backdrop's back there. And, just be prepared with good audio, all that stuff.
We've got a group going through the business class right now, Carlos, and that's exactly, you know, everything, just obviously made common sense, but we're hearing it from everybody that's in the industry. It's going to be the most dramatic shift for actors is that self-tape will become the norm, which, holy hell, I mean, how great is that? You don't have to drive. You don't have to deal with parking,
Oh my God.
all the bullshit, and you can take multiple takes to lay down your best work. I mean, I think it's comical what a great thing it is, honestly, that part of it.
It would take me an hour and a half to get to Santa Monica sometimes.
Yeah.
Because of traffic, and I would just go there for some little Petco commercial, and I would act like a cat for 10 seconds, and then I would come right back, you know?
Oh, I do know. What has been the, maybe the...
give me 1 second. My video just died, so I'm going to change the battery really quick.
Oh, okay. Okay.
10 couple of seconds here.
No problem.
Should be fine.
My audio has been a little wobbly on my end. I apologize to y'all if it's been freezing.
And I'm back.
Okay, good. So, Carlos, as you are now, you know, like you said, January hits and you're in virtually every scene. You know, can you just talk about what how you've grown as an actor and in what ways now getting this incredible on-the-job training?
Well, I think part of the growth happens with seeing how other actors, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but what I'm trying to say is like you start seeing what to do and what not to do. And you start seeing it right in front of you on a set. And they start learning from that, you know? I wish I can tell you guys, but one day I will.
No, I understand. I know what you mean. Exactly. Yeah. It's, you know, when you're a pro and you're paying attention, you pick up on what is done well and what isn't done well. And it's part of it. No doubt.
I think what it is, it's like you start realizing how well trained we are, how professional we are, and it's so cool. It's really, really cool, like how Like, we're badasses, you know? Every single person in this chat, we're all badasses, and it's so cool. And we're all in this together. Like, my mom always taught me, like, there's no hierarchy, you know? Treat the dishwasher like you treat the CEO of the company. So I don't, just because I'm on Selena doesn't mean anything. You know, we're all in this together. We're all, you guys are all my artistic family now, you know? And I'll help you guys in some way, and then you guys will go off and help someone else. And then that's who we are, you know? That's our community.
I heard you during the break. I had the audio on, and I heard you, you know, being so incredibly gracious. I'm not surprised one bit. I know your other 3 roommates would do the exact same thing, for the same reasons. You know, that beautiful artistic spirit and that artistic generosity. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing to help in any way that you can. Because as we know, Carlos, you know, as our careers unfold, they wouldn't be where they are without the help of people like that who did pull us up. So it is a tremendous honor to be able to help others as well.
Just
Guys,
like,
go.
I was gonna say, like, you've always said this in class too. I go, we go. You know, and that's the model that I live with my roommates. You know, we have an audition. We all attack the audition like it's our own audition, and it's like Ron's audition, and we're just, you know, we're all in.
What a beautiful thing. Again, I don't know if you all caught this, but Carlos lives with 3 guys, all from, not even from his same class, but just Santiago, correct?
Yeah, from my class, yeah.
Yeah, but the other 2 graduated at different times. But over the years, from this cross-pollination, from talent shows and film festivals and projects, you start finding people that you connect with on another level. And when they were all looking for a place to live, they all got together. Long story short, these 4 dear friends are roommates, and what a synergy, what a community. They actually are thrilled when somebody gets an audition, even though they're not. It is different. Don't you agree that it's a completely different vibe than when you have just roommates that are just actors, you know, people in the business?
Yeah, and that's a big point. If you guys have any toxic people in your life that are holding you back, sometimes it's hard to, you know, you have to, like, see, this has been my my ideal. This is what I've always wanted in my career as an actor, is being in a place with badasses, you know, people that care, people that nurture you, people that believe in you the same way you believe in them. And that's what I have now. And I know Victoria and Brianna, they're going to move to a place in LA pretty soon. They're going to have that, and then they're going to start bringing other people in the group, you know.
That's right. That's right. It is. It's a beautiful thing.
We'll be close by, we'll be neighbors, and, you know, my house is your guys' house, you know.
Be careful. So, okay, we're going to open it up to just some more questions, whatever you might have, and then, you know, we'll close this off with hopefully another song if he's willing to. Does anyone have any questions that you'd like to ask? Let Kyla know.
We got another one. We got one from McGuire.
Okay.
McGuire
from where? Cancun.
Straight from the Mexico casino.
Yeah. Right.
You go, McGuire. Oh, there you are. Hello.
I was talking this entire time and I didn't realize I was muted. My bad. There's also like the super loud water tanks for whatever reason. So if you hear it, I'm so sorry.
We're good.
My question was, how do you deal with the waiting? Like you talked about how in between these different opportunities, you ended up waiting 3 months at a time to just get an email back that says, yeah, thanks for coming out. Have a great time. Like, see you next time. Like, I don't feel like I'm an impatient person, but that feels like it would like really take a toll. And so like, I'm just wondering like how you dealt with that and how you deal with that.
Well, the way I did it was I sent a message to the casting director, which is a no-no, but I did it. See, to answer your question, you just go on with your life. You can't hold on to these things. I mean, I know it's hard, especially for me who wanted Selena really bad. You just move on with your life. You go off and you do other things. You keep nurturing your talent, your crafts. You work on your voice. You work on your guitar. You work on your music, whatever your hobbies are.
It's critical what he's describing, everybody. You really need to embrace this. Again, we will absolutely cover this big time in the business class. The importance of when you walk out of an audition, you have to learn how to let it go. As much as you may want that opportunity, as life-changing as it could possibly be, you'll go freaking cuckoo waiting.
Yeah.
You know, you heard Carlos talk about sometimes he waited months to hear back. And then after he gets this great he has an hour and a half session with the producers. How in the hell they didn't call him the very next day? It would have seemed impossible. They would have thought they're going to change it to Selena and Carlos, you know, after an audition like that is how it feels.
Yeah.
And yet it was a good week plus later. How to deal with that? I'm telling you, the mental toughness, guys. Yeah. Otherwise, you will drive. This is the kind of stuff that beats an actor down. It's these kind of experiences. There's a lovely teaching I heard many years ago. It's often not the no's that will break your heart. It's the yeses. The yeses meaning an audition for an hour and a half. That's such a yes. It's play us another song and keep playing for 10 minutes. That's such a yes. It's not even funny. And you walk out of there floating, positive it's yours. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it doesn't even like, thank God it did for Carlos, but sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. And you're like going, what the hell? You know? So you will drive yourself crazy unless you learn how to not only let it go, but to be able to, as Carlos was saying, find things to keep doing. Now get back to keep planting more seeds to keep, this is eventually going to end. Carlos is going to parlay this into something else. He's already, I'm positive his manager is already thinking of other things. They're working on talking about other things as these relationships grow and blossom. And it's just part of it all.
Yeah. My friend told me something very beautiful that goes with what Jim was saying. He said the last thing that grows on a tree is a fruit. So he said it's so worth it. Be patient, you know? Like it's worth it. Oh, Santiago's here.
Come on. Get in here, brother. Get in here. We want you.
Thank you for that question, man. Come on in.
Get in here, pal. And the other roommates are there, please. We'd love to share this. For me, anyway, this is the world to me.
All right, guys. So this is Santiago Rosas.
Hello, brother.
What's up, man?
Hello, Jim. How are you?
Yeah.
Oh, what up?
Hi, Santi.
What's up, y'all?
Oh, brother, we're thrilled to see you as well. It's been a beautiful evening with your roommate, and having you join us it makes it even better, pal. How you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing out there?
We're having a beautiful evening with him. He's an absolute gift, and he's grown so much as an artist, as a man, as a dreamer. It's obvious and a pleasure. So it's a great night. He's helping them get better too.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. I've learned a lot from this gentleman myself. So it's good to have him here. Yeah.
How you doing, pal? Are you off to work or are you just coming home?
I just woke up a little bit ago.
Yep.
I'm gonna get my stuff together. But he was like, "Come on over." So
you got a moment to because we're gonna finish off shortly. Play a song together or do something. You got that? I don't want to impose on you. You might have to head out of there.
By the way, this is an example of someone that's also working hard. He goes to work at 7 p.m. and he comes back at 7 a.m. You know, he does overnights just so he can like live here, just so he can live his dream.
Yep.
So whatever you got to do, man. Whatever you got to do. If you want this, you'll find a way, you know? Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, again, I think this is more my highlight, seeing how the two of you together in LA, living in your house. It makes me emotional. It's a beautiful thing, man. It really, really is. Kylie, I don't know if there's any more questions. Could we finish off with a song? If there's not, or if there are, we'll.
Jade Olivia has one more. I haven't heard any more beyond that.
Okay, we'll take that one and we'll finish this off, this beautiful evening.
The talented Jade Olivia, everyone.
Hey. So you kind of touched on this, or it sounds like you did with your roommates being from different classes, I guess, aside from Santiago, you two being really good friends from the same session. But was there another way that you went about connecting with Meisner alumnus, or has it happened organically, or aside from your roommates, is that kind of just like when you bumped into each other, or I don't know, is there some type of community you guys have created? Because Jim talks about you guys a lot.
Yeah, well, the community that was created was because of Jim and Melissa at the studio. You know, all the events that they put together, we're constantly in each other's space and constantly like helping each other grow and like learning from each other. And then there's the film festivals that we get to work with each other. And then, now all of a sudden I'm Ron's friend. Oh, now Ron brings in his people from his class, and now I'm friends with them. You know, it all happened in the studio. That's why that place is very special to us.
And also, Jade Olivia, you know, when we have graduates who complete the formal training, who are ready for this level of introduction, we do our very best when people head to LA to try to make these introductions. You've heard Carlos be so gracious already and just say, hey, you know, whatever I can do to help, to offer up classes or teachers that I've experienced, because there are so many people down there where it's just a money grab as far as teachers and workshops, etc. But of course, there's incredible ones too. So in the process, when you reach out to our alumni that are out there, they're going to meet with you, and they're going to save you a lot of time, energy, and money, because they've already kissed those frogs and shaken those trees and found the good ones. So there is a community down there, and it'll be up to you to reach out to them, that will help support that in any way that we can.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, with that, would you
Thank
finish
you.
off with the song, Santi? Well, you got one in you, brother?
I don't think I do, Jim. I just woke up.
No problem, Pally. No problem. Well, it's so great to see you.
Can you sing with me?
I don't know this one, bro.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Okay, Jim.
Good.
I want you all to sing. So this song, Jim,
Yes.
you play for us in Hawaii.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, shit.
And this song resonates with, I think, what we all talked about today, you know? The dreamers, the ones that want to make this a reality, you know? I made it a reality, and I'm a perfect example of that it can be done. You guys can do it too, you know? So, you know the song? It's right there, look. You got the lyrics right there, man.
Oh, shit.
No excuses. I did it on purpose.
Come on, Santi.
All right, so let me tune my guitar for 30 minutes really quick. well, Santiago.
Oh, man. I don't know this song.
Yes, you do. Come on.
All right.
We all know this song. Even Jim's going to start singing right now. Watch. Okay, here we go. Sing along if you know the lyrics, okay? Even if you're muted. Oh, can I even sing? I'm out of whiskey.
You got this, dude.
Here we go. How does it go? Oh my god, I forgot it. I hope you remember your sense of wonder. You get to. Sorry, guys. Your sense of wonder. Always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath away. If God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. You get your fill to eat, but always have that hunger. May you never take one single breath away. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you you guys dance.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What a beautiful bow on a beautiful, beautiful evening. Carlos, on behalf of every single one of us, thank you. I'm telling you, I'm so incredibly proud of you, not for Selena, not honestly, I mean, I'm thrilled for that part, but I'm just telling you, man, the man you've grown into, I see it loud and clear. It's not like there was some big journey that had to happen, but I'm just telling you, I see it loud and clear.
Thank you, Jim. It's all because of you guys. And oh, can hear the audio.
Yeah, I can't. Hang on. Your audio's not on. Hang on. Give it a sec. Try again, maybe. Just keep talking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I can repeat that. Well, I'm going to do my best. I just want to say that it's just on behalf of all of us. Not only thank you, but I'm so proud of you, pal. Not for Selena and all this beautiful success, but most of all for the man and the artist you are becoming and are growing into. You are so incredibly gracious, humble, and of service, and a beautiful ambassador on behalf of what we're trying to do. So again, on behalf of all of us, congratulations, but most of all, thank you. Thank you.
Can we have everyone turn their video on? I need a picture, please.
Yes, let's get everybody's video on, and we'll say hi to our fun. Oh, good. Get in there, Santi, brother.
Yes, Santi. All right, everybody. Hang on. All right, here we go.
Smile.
Multiple pages. Hang on. All right. Here we go, everybody.
Taking pictures of her face.
Hey.
Good, good, good. Everybody bring on your audio at least and say goodbye and thank yous. It'll be an onslaught, but let them have it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Carlos. Thank you, Carlos.
So nice meeting you, Carlos.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
guys.
Thank you.